Hey y'all, I'm Valerie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 easy sheet pan dinners. This is one of my favorite ways to cook. These one pan meals come together quick and I really think you're going to love them. Now let's go ahead and get started. This first one is a simple pork tenderloin with potatoes and green beans. I started out by washing 1 pound of red potatoes and I cut those into bite-sized pieces. Now I have 1.5 pounds of fresh green beans that I washed and trimmed. I added those to a large bowl. I'm seasoning them with a little salt, pepper, and some nature seasoning. Now you'll just want to drizzle over about 3 tablespoons of oil and toss all that around until everything is well coated. I grabbed my baking sheet. Now I'm just pouring those veggies right on in. Spread those out. Now I'm just making a little hole in the center here so I'll have room for my pork tenderloin. The one I'm using is already seasoned and it's roasted garlic and herb and it's a little over 2 pounds. Now this all bakes at 425 for 45 to 55 minutes, or just until your pork reaches an internal temperature of 145 degrees. This dinner was simple and delicious. I just wish I would have made some gravy to go along with it. This next one is one I've really been wanting to try. It's a stuffed crust pizza. To my baking sheet, I'm laying down a Pillsbury pizza crust. I unrolled it and then I flattened mine out a little more because we like our crust a little thinner and crispier, and because this will end up a lot smaller after we roll the crust in. I'm using about 10 of the mozzarella string cheeses. I unrolled them and then placed them all around the edges, leaving enough dough on the outside to fold over and cover that string cheese. I had to work with this a little, and if you feel like you need to cut your string cheese, go ahead and cut it to fit. And next time, I won't put them quite as close to the edge. You'll see in a minute here, I didn't have enough dough to fold over to seal that cheese in. And after it baked for a little bit, it did start to unroll a little bit, but it still worked out just fine. So just try to press those seams together to get it really sealed in. I melted about 3 tablespoons of butter in a small bowl, and I'm adding in some garlic powder and some Italian seasoning. Stir that together and then spread it all over that crust. This part really adds so much flavor to your pizza. Now I bake this at 425 for just about 5 minutes before I add the sauce and toppings. If not, it's hard to get a crispy crust. Now I'm trying out this Chef Boyardee pizza sauce. This is the one that Kat from Southern Farm and Kitchen recommends, and it is definitely my new favorite. Just add on enough to lightly coat the bottom of your crust. Now I'm adding on about 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, but add any cheese you like. And for the toppings, these are my daughter's favorite pizza toppings. I'm sprinkling on about 1 cup of cooked and crumbled bacon. I'm also adding on about a little over 1/2 cup of some diced ham. And of course, some pepperoni. But feel free to use any toppings you like. You could add mushrooms or peppers. Just be creative here and do what you like. And we love cheese, so I felt the need to add a little extra on top. I added about 1/2 cup extra. Now this goes back into the oven at 425 to bake for about 10 more minutes, or until that crust is lightly golden brown. If you look closely, you can see where I didn't get the cheese sealed in there completely, but that crust was still stuffed with cheese and it was absolutely delicious. And I just served this with a side salad to go along with it. Let's just say we'll be having pizza night pretty regularly from now on. This was another new one for me. It was barbecue chicken drumsticks with baked potatoes and corn on the cob. I'm starting out with the potatoes first because they'll need to bake a little longer. I'm using 3 russet potatoes. I washed them really well, poked holes in them. Now I'm brushing them with a little oil. I'm putting those in the oven to bake at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes while I get everything else ready. I'm trying this new barbecue rub, so to a small bowl, I added half a cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of paprika, about 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of salt, a couple teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and about a teaspoon of ground mustard. And I adjusted the seasonings a little, so use more or less of what you do or don't like. I'll have the original recipe linked below though. I'm using a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and I added in 8 chicken drumsticks along with about 3 tablespoons of oil and all of that seasoning mix that I just made up. Seal that bag up tightly and then give it a really good mix. Now set that aside for a minute. I've got 4 ears of corn that I removed the husk and the silks from. I'm brushing them with some melted butter, then I sprinkled on some salt. Now wrap these up tightly in foil. And I don't know why I do it this way, but I twist my ends really tightly just to seal them up. So I have my drumsticks and my corn ready now. I grabbed that baking sheet out of the oven. Those baked for about 30 minutes. I forgot to salt my potatoes, so I went ahead and did that now. I laid down the chicken drumsticks, and here's where I probably went wrong, and I'll do different next time. But I took all that juice that was in the bag with that brown sugar, and I poured it on top of the chicken. That goes into the oven to bake at 400 for about 40 minutes. I put the corn on a separate baking sheet because it wouldn't fit on the other one, and it's going to bake for 40 minutes as well. So halfway through the baking, I checked on everything, and I was so scared that all that brown sugar on the bottom of the pan was going to burn, so I switched all that chicken and the potatoes to a clean pan. Next time in that seasoning, instead of a half a cup of brown sugar, I'll probably use 1 or 2 tablespoons. And about 5 minutes before this was done, I decided to brush the top of that chicken with a little barbecue sauce. Here's that chicken right out of the oven. This meal really turned out to be a hit. Those drumsticks were amazing. The corn was so good, and I topped the baked potato with butter, sour cream, and cheddar cheese. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and click into this playlist right here. Don't forget to subscribe down below. It's completely free. That way you don't miss out on any future videos, and I will see you in the next one.